Float was originally developed for floating images. And you could take an image and you could float it, put it over here. And so let's look at my notes and see what I said about that, because I'm sure that'll be a little bit more coherent than me just trying to say it all right now. So you could float left, you could float right, you could float none. And then there's an overflow problem. So let's see those. So here's a page, and let's just look at it. This is what you could do with float. So that image is floated right, and that image is floated left. Cool, and then the text wraps around it. Nice. So that's handy. I like it so far. It's good for floating images so text wraps around them. That's what it was built for. That's float. And the CSS for that is this. So right is applied to this image right, float right, and then left will be applied to this one down here. That image right there, float that left. And you get this. Cool. So far, so good. Now, over to overflow problem. Not enough text, right? Floated it left, and now it's kind of like in a strange place where, you know, there's that stuff. And what would happen if on this page I just had, after that div, ul li times 100. Let's put some money in it. So that's an overflow problem. How do you fix that? Yeah, so here we have overflow auto. Woohoo! Fix the overflow problem. Overflow auto. Okay? Nice? Let's look at the page. Something, float, something, something. And div is float left. Div is float left. Width, height, margin, border, background, color, red. So that's float left. That got floated left. Took it out. I don't know how you describe that. Is it in the document flow or not in the document flow? So I'm going to come here and just look for flow. Overflow, overflow, overflow. So the CSS specifies that an element should be taken from the normal flow and placed along the left or right side of its container, where text and inline elements will wrap around it. So it is taken from the normal flow and placed along the left or right side of its container. Taken from the normal flow, placed along the left or right side of the container, and then text and inline elements wrap around it, which is weird because you're not in the flow, but the text and inline elements wrap around you. And these guys aren't popping up under it, right? It's holding those off. Right, because here's the div, and then this is wrapping around it, and that's kind of like on top of it a little bit, even though this was after it. Like if this wasn't float, that div wasn't floating, that's the order. Weird, right? Float's just crap. But now it's floating. Huh? Why didn't they all go to the top? I don't know. Section, section, section. Oh. So now they all go to the top. Sorry. So this is floated to the left. Everything slides up under it. But on this one, I clear it. I clear it on this one. I clear the float. Done floating. So these go back right underneath it. So it's not going to float anything under it. So you float it, and if you float it without clearing it, everything slides up under it. You haven't cleared your float. But if you clear the float, then whatever it's cleared on from that point on, the floating is no longer over it. It's no longer floating over that. Because the float's been cleared, it's done. From this point forward. So float, a couple of things you're going to run into. Overflow auto. Okay, now it will stay in the container. It's not going to overflow that container, right? Overflow auto. Let's write that on the board because we're learning float. Right, it won't overflow the container. And then we have float. We have clear. Clear. You can do left, right, or both. And when you clear, then that float's been cleared. And everything else stops floating under it. Okay? Clear your float. All right, time for hands-on exercise, which you want to take home with you? All right.